Okay, so here's a couple of our garden variety short-term liabilities. We'll do accounts payable and notes payable. Okay, so let's start with accounts payable. These are obligations owed to others, goods, supplies, services purchased on account, generally referred to as open accounts. You don't sign any formal loan agreement. You may, sign something that says you've got an agreement with different tradespeople on it. They're usually referred to as open accounts, generally paid within 30 to 60 days. And if you remember from AC 102, you have to get into the deal of all the trucks that are out on, the highways at the end of the accounting period, who owns what's in them. And that's where you get into the FOB shipping, FOB destination associated with your accounts payable. If you need to brush up on that, you could go to the orientation section, and you'll find all of AC 102 there, and you can look at what you need to look at. It's chapter 5. Okay, so basically you want your accounts payable and your inventory for each period to line up. And you also get into the situation with cash discounts, all that 210 net 30 stuff. So let's just look at one of these. This should be very quick review for you. Oops. All right. So here you've got the an accounts payable problem. You've got Rolly Corp using a periodic inventory system. So that means you're going to be using the purchases account, purchase discounts, purchase returns and allowances, freight in, as opposed to a perpetual system where you would just be using your merchandise inventory account to put all of that stuff in. Okay, so on July 1st, they purchased $60,000 worth of inventory, terms 210, net 30, FOB shipping point. That gets it all right in there, doesn't it? You also note they're using the gross method as opposed to the net method for accounting. So July 1st, when they do it, it's going to be purchases and accounts payable for the $60,000. All of the other information comes into play later. They also paid freight costs of $1,200. So freight in your periodic system is the account that you would use. If you were using a perpetual, it would just go into your merchandise inventory account. So freight in would be $1,200 and cash. Then on the 3rd, they return damaged goods and get a credit of $6,000. So you reduce the amount that you owe your supplier, reduce the accounts payable, and we use the purchase returns and allowances account to record that. Okay, so then what happens? We paid for the goods. Okay, so it was 210 net 30. So that means that they're going to be able to take a discount on the bill. Okay, so they don't owe the 60 because it's 60 minus the 6 that was returned. So you have an accounts payable total of $54,000. On that, you can take the 2% discount. So 2% is $1,080, and so the check that you write is for the $52,920. Okay, and I think they don't get a whole lot worse than that. Okay, let's briefly look at notes payable. Okay, so your notes payable, and again, this should be a fairly quick review. You can have an interest-bearing note. So in this case, they borrowed $40,000 by signing a $40,000 9% 3-month note. Typically, your interest and principal will be paid off when the note is paid off. So at the outset, you're simply registering the cash and notes payable of the face amount of the note. You have to accrue interest at year end for the amount of interest that you have built up so far. So November, December, that's 2 months. You take the $40,000 times the 9% times 2/12, and that's the amount that gets recorded as interest expense to get it in the right accounting period and interest payable. This date is not right. I'm working a little too fast here. So this should be, okay, it's a 3-month note. So November, December, January, this should be February 1st, 2018. That's when the note gets paid off. I can actually fix that right now. Okay, so this should be 2/1/18. Okay, and at that point, You pay off the interest payable. The interest expense for January, it's a 3-month note, would be $300. And then you pay off the note, and that's the amount of a check that you write. So that's your basic notes payable where there's a stated interest rate. We also, and this is also a quick review, if you've got a 3-month non-interest bearing, that does not mean there's no interest, it just means there's no stated interest rate. And basically you'll be borrowing, you'll get a certain amount of money and you have to pay back more. The difference is the interest on that note, even though there's no stated interest on it. So this is a 3-month note, 0 interest bearing. So the note payable is the full amount you're gonna have to pay. The cash is what you got now, and the difference is the discount on notes payable. At the end of the year, you have to say, well, how much of that interest has been accrued so far? And so you've got interest expense and discount on note payable. You take the $60,000 times the, oh, okay, so it's over 3 months, so you're just going to be dividing it out. So you've got the $900 that's due there for November, December, and then you've got your interest expense for the month of January would be the $450, and so by the time you add all that up, you've gotten rid of the discount on note payable that's been recognized as interest expense, and you simply pay off the note. Okay, so that's sort of a brief review of your accounts payable and your notes payable.